Hello, and welcome to the Joe Cortez Show here in Las Vegas, Nevada, the boxing capital of the world. Well, these days, there's a lot of things that are happening in boxing. After this COVID situation, we've been going through some difficult times. However, my dear friend, colleague, Richard Steele, the famous Richard Steele, Hall of Famer, and his assistant here, he has Coach Tracy. Coach Tracy is involved with programs. And I want to say, Richard, you know, it really is an honor having you on my show here because it's not every day or every week that I get a person on the show with your popularity and your fame as one of the best referees in the history of boxing. You know, now you have been in some of the greatest fights in the history of boxing here in Nevada and around the world. Right. You've traveled around the world, and you were inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame back in 2014, if I'm correct. Right. 2014, right? And it was such an honor, you know, to have you on the show because, you know, Richard Steele is a name. People always say about Richard Steele. Is that the famous Richard Steele who's been in so many big fights? Some of the greatest fights that you've been with, like Hagler and Tommy Hearns, right? And Hagler and Leonard. Yes. I mean, it was great fights. I mean, you've been in so many big ones. But those two fights stand out a lot, especially Leonard and Hagler.
Correct.
I mean, Hagler. I mean, last time I was with him a couple of years ago, may he rest in peace, Hagler. We were sitting there having lunch, and Sugar Ray Leonard was with us at the table, and we were sitting there talking. And his wife, Hagler's wife, we were having lunch up at Cannon Store in New York. And we were just talking. He said, "Come on, Joe. You know I beat him." and Leonard looks at me, "Come on, Joe, man." I mean, I said, "You guys gonna stop this? I'm the referee here. You're gonna stop now. We're gonna just talk about other things, but forget about that. Both of you guys are champions. Both of you guys are winners. Everybody think you guys both won, so you're both great champions. I mean, you're going out the greatest. But it's an honor having you here today, Richard.
Well, thank you.
Because you know, you can tell me a little bit about being the referee in that fight. How was that?
Well, it was a great fight to referee. You know, two great fighters that will go down of all-time greats, you know, and they're very disciplined, two great guys, right. You know, and very disciplined. I didn't have no trouble, you know, and even though, you know, they always thought Leonard was very hard to beat here in Las Vegas, you know, but, you know, Hagler was a great fighter. And, you know, he has good skills, good power, you know, and so he always felt that he won that fight.
Yeah, and being a southpaw is a little bit more difficult for the opponent because not every day you fight a southpaw.
Correct.
You got to kind of train up and work your way up to that style of a southpaw. You got to go the other way, and you got to be able to be careful with that left hand, you know, because it's coming, and you don't see it coming because it's so quick and so awkward sometimes. And you being a referee, you had to be at the open door because you could be on the blind side. If you're on the wrong side, you know, you're going to miss a lot of shots. So it made you work a little harder. You had to be always try to spin around and be at the open door so you can see all the punches coming.
Correct.
Especially the headbutts, all low blows.
Correct. Well, you know, you was a great referee yourself, so you know the angles and the different tricks.
And that's so important as a referee. Now, tell us about the fight you did with Tommy Hearns and Hagler. How was that?
Tommy Hearns and Hagler was a great fight. You know, Tommy had a great right hand.
Right.
And, you know, first time in my career, you know, I see a guy get hit with a right hand and bust the guy's head wide open. You know? Right. And that's what he did to Hagler, you know. And Hagler turned to me, he said, I'll never forget. He said, "I'm not going to let you stop this fight behind no right hand." You know?
I'll tell you, you know, Hagler was always, he's a gentleman. He was always, we used to be together. He always wanted me to be with him. He said, "Joe, well, I'm in the crowd, you know, everybody's around me. Please grab me by my arm and pull me away," you know?
Yeah.
So every time we were, but what a nice man he was, you know? Good man.
Always.
And always, you know, talk well to everybody, to all the fans. He was good, and to all the officials, yourself, everybody.
Right.
And Sugar Ray Leonard was a class act guy himself.
Right.
Sugar Ray Leonard, Tommy Hearns, he's still around today. He's doing his thing. Have you seen Tommy Hearns lately?
Not lately. I've seen him maybe a year ago.
How's he doing these days?
He's doing good.
Yeah.
He's doing good, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, everybody, after so long, after so many wars, you know, everybody's gait changed a little bit, you know. The walk and the talk slowed down a little, but he's doing good.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know, the gait happens to all of us. I mean, we all reach a certain age, and we start slowing down a little bit, you know?
You're right about that.
That's why you have your gym now, and your gym, you get to work out at your gym at all?
Yeah, I do, but I don't.
You do? you don't, but you should once in a while.
I should, because my gait is always.
No, you're good. You're good. But I mean, having the gym. Tell us about your program. You have Tracy there. Tracy, you're one of the coaches there. Can you tell us a little bit about working with Richard Steele? I mean, it must be an honor working with him every day.
It's most definitely an honor. Having him as my boss and my mentor is a blessing.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about your background in boxing.
Well, both of my boys are amateur boxers.
Okay.
And I started in the boxing career once they started boxing. I've always been a fan of boxing. My passion, I love the background of boxing, the inside of it, the science, all of that. Makes me happy just talking about it.
Yeah.
But then I started becoming a coach once my kids got more involved and they started in amateur boxing. I wanted to be more involved. My husband is also their main coach, Percy, and we love the sport. Now we have a team that follows us. We have an amateur team, about 28 kids. They're fighting. We actually have a fight coming up that we're going to Utah for on the 23rd. We have 4 of our kids fighting. And then in the gym, we have our classes. We have our 2 kids classes. They're both about 40, 60 kids. One's at 4, one's at 5. They run about an hour long, and that's pretty cool. We have three different levels in those classes. They start at 1, they try to move up to 3, and then to the amateur team. But it's just developing these kids little by little to help them become better every day.
Yeah. Do you still have the after-school program there?
We have the classes after school. Yeah.
Okay, good. So these kids are not with the COVID situation, with the pandemic. Had to be kind of difficult for everybody there because they had to be the mask on all the time.
Yeah.
How was that? How do you guys get to weather the storm with that?
We got through it. I mean, it was tough training and having these kids work out with the mask on, but we were able to actually stay open throughout most of the time during COVID. We just couldn't have any contact. So at least they were able to keep their conditioning up and work out during that time and have something to do.
Now you say try to have no contact, and how can you not have contact in boxing?
Well, no contact as far as no sparring, no, you know what I mean, no contact drills, none of that. It was just training, conditioning, running, all of that.
See, that's good to know.
The technical part of it, yeah.
See, that's why I asked you that question, because people know it's a contact sport,
right?
But yet you did it without the contact,
right?
But you did it, but to keep them active and make sure they kept working on a regular basis to get them back where they're at today.
Right. Now
they're able to compete. Right. Coming, they say May.
Well, May we have our pro show, May 5th. Okay. June 19th we have an amateur show for Juneteenth, and that'll be at Richard Steele's Foundation. The one I was talking about is in Utah. We're taking kids on the road.
Can you tell me about the date and location for here in Nevada? What date is that?
So for the pro show, it's going to be May 5th, and it's at the Sahara Event Center on Sahara and Maryland Parkway. That's going to be his second pro show in the last couple years.
Okay, so. Now, who's fighting the main event, Rich? Who's fighting the main event on that?
Lester Martinez.
Against who?
Against.
We don't have his name yet.
Okay, to be announced later on.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, but the thing is that you're getting it ready, and Richard, you're coming back with the pros again, which is good. So you get these kids, you get them to get to a certain level. They graduate from there. They can they see their dream come true.
Right.
Come in right with the same coaches and whatnot into the pro ranks.
Right.
Which is good.
Try to build them from the ground up.
That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to bring boxing back to Las Vegas. How it used to be with the club fights and the 4 and 6 rounders. We got a lot of good kids that have really had experience very well in the amateur program, so they should have a chance to fight, pro if they want.
Right.
So we are, keeping them moving. Our amateur show's been very well, and we have, the regional shows, and then we take them to the nationals.
Right.
And we go to the nationals when?
I think it's in June.
In June.
Yeah.
Okay, in June we go to the nationals, and then a lot of the kids, not a lot, but there are 1 or 2 kids, after they get through with the nationals, they want to try the professionals.
Right, sure, absolutely. But that's everybody's. I remember meeting Devin Haney up in Mesquite. I started the boxing program up in Mesquite. I mean, they had a little club. Nothing was happening. I went up there. The guy, John, who was in charge, he said, Joe, you got to help us out with this program. We got a program going. And now they had the Nationals there one year.
Yeah.
You know, and David Haney was fighting for the PAL championship. He was 10 years old. Okay.
Oh.
And I saw David Haney. I said, gee, you know, I said, hey, come here, young man. I said, who's your trainer? He said, my daddy. I said, where is he? Bring him over here. His dad come over named Bill. Bill comes over, Mr. Haney, this kid here has potential to be world champion. He's championship material. He's definitely going places.
Oh, yeah.
I can tell you, I told him back then. And he's only 10 years old. 10 years later, he's world WBC lightweight champion.
Yes.
You see? So this is, I'm glad that you do
He's got a fight coming up, too.
Yeah. He got a good one coming up. But that's why I'm glad to see that you guys are what you're doing with these kids, because these kids, when they see you talk to them about Devin Haney, he's just an inspiration to these kids.
Right.
Came from the same,
They can relate to him.
Yeah, for the PAL program, you know, and it's so important that these kids they can see a role model. Like I used to watch Richard Steele referee. I was back in New York. I said, man, I wish I could referee with that guy one day, you know. And then next thing you know, in '92, I'm here referee in Las Vegas with Richard Steele, you know. And we became buddies back then, his wife and his daughter, and it's just been so great having somebody with Richard Steele with his experience and his personality, the knowledge, the wisdom that he has in boxing, and not only in boxing but in life in general.
Right.
You know, and that's why he's where he's at today with the Richard Steele Boxing Club.
Yeah.
He tells a little bit about your boxing club and where's the location. A lot of people say, Joe, where can I go send my kids to? I said, Richard Steele Gym, they're on Cheyenne. Give them the exact address.
2475 West Cheyenne.
Okay.
That's in North Las Vegas, you know. And we are open from 12 to 7, 12 to 8 sometimes. So we try to stay open for the kids. So when they are out of school or get out of school, they have a place to come and.
Now, how long have you had the Richard Steele Boxing Club? How many years now? Been quite a while.
Yeah, it's been 15 years.
15 years already. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty good. Really.
Yeah.
I understand you're doing a referee seminar on the 24th, a week from this coming Sunday.
Yeah.
At your gym with the professional referees here from Las Vegas. And we're still doing that, right?
Oh, yes. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. You had to come by and
Yeah,
train these guys.
Yeah, well, they're going to have Jay Nady and I understand Robert Burt will be giving some instructions there to some of the referees there. I may stop by. I think I got my grandson playing football in Indiana. He plays with Purdue University now.
Wow.
He's a cornerback.
That's great. That's wonderful.
Bryce Hampton, number 27. And I believe he's playing a spring game that weekend. I think I'm going to that, but I was talking to Jeff, your director from the commission here. He wanted me to go also to your gym on the 24th and be there. I have to confirm with him on that, because that's a good date. I would be with my colleagues.
Right. It would be great to have you.
Yeah. You have Richard Steele, you have Robert Byrd, you have Jay Nady, you have Kenny Bayless, Tony Weeks, Russell Mora, Mike Ortega, Celestino Ruiz. You know, just to name a few of the referees that they have. And you have Raul Caiz from California who'll probably coming in for that. So you have a good team of referees in Las Vegas, and they're good coming to the Richard Steele Boxing Club. It's not open to the public because it's a private event for this training for the judges and referees, but mainly for referees on that particular day. Because, you know, the referees, as you know, we started doing seminars years ago to keep these referees, you know, on their toes and making sure that they have a refresher course. Most of them, we know the rules, but it's good to have a refresher course.
That's right.
So this way, the fight's coming up, big fight's coming up in the next couple of weeks. We want to make sure that these referees are on their toes and ready for the unexpected.
Because, you know, the old saying is, you're only as good as your last bout.
Exactly.
So if you don't get no work, you know, you're only as good as your last bout. So that's why it's good to have these seminars and have these lessons, you know, private lessons that we give to the referees and the judges to keep them sharp. So when the name comes up to do a fight, they're ready.
That's right. It's so important, you know, that referees and judges, you know, that they do their homework, because, as you know, things happen in boxing, the unexpected. I remember when Mills Lanes was refereeing Evander Holyfield and a Reddick Bowe fight, a fan man came in and a parachute came into the ring. Who the heck is going to be expecting that to happen? You know?
No one.
No one. What was the craziest thing that ever happened to you in the ring, Richard?
Oh, gee, it was several things.
No, but anything like that.
One thing that happened to me one time, this very tall lady jumped in the ring.
With the shoe?
No, not with the shoe, but I remember that. But she unrolled
In the ring.
Yeah, in the ring.
But the fight was going on.
And the fight was going on.
You were in there.
Yeah, I had to call the police to get her out.
Yeah, man. That was in Las Vegas.
Oh, man.
Here in Sin City.
Yeah.
That's why they call it Sin City, maybe, because of that night. Wow. Yeah, lady unroped herself in the ring.
Yes, yes.
Was she mentally something? Or?
I don't know. I didn't talk to her. I didn't have time to talk to her.
Oh, my God.
The police then grabbed her so fast and put a robe on her and
climbed
got
out the
her
ring,
out of there. Yeah.
took her on the stretcher. Okay, well, that's really crazy. You know, I can't, the only thing I can think about would be something crazy that happened to me. One day I went to the Bahamas to referee 2 championship fights, and they were intercontinental championship, nothing major, but they were 12-round fights. When I get to this arena, I check the ring. You know, we go out there, we check the ring, make sure the ropes and the canvas is right. Well, that canvas, that's all they had, canvas, had no padding underneath. Oh, wow. I said, wait a minute. I said, where's the padding on this canvas? He said, we have no padding for that. I said, wait a minute, I'm not gonna let these fighters fight in this ring with only wood and only the canvas on top. I mean, you can't do that. He said, what are we gonna do? The place was packed. I mean, a couple of thousand people already in that ring, in the arena. I said, we cannot let these fighters fight without a padding under there.
That's right.
Would you believe that the promoter said, well, it was already going into 1 hour waiting and nothing is happening? And then next thing you know, the promoter said, Mr. Cortez, come here, you got a minute? I want to do this. I said, what are you going to do? I'm going to my house. He went to his house and they cut the carpet from the living room out. And they cut it and measured and put it in. Meanwhile, the people in the arena waiting. And this is a small town in the Bahamas. And I tell you, that actually happened. And then when they put it on, they took the canvas off, put the padding on. Then I got on top of it. I said, you know, we can do it with this. You know, it was not the proper kind of padding I would have approved, but it was good enough. It was better than what they had. You know, and so with the fight going on, thank God there was no knockdowns in either of the championship fights.
But that was great that you took care of the fighters. Yeah, well, and that was the referee's job, is to, you know, safety first, take care of the fighters, and make sure that, you know, everything works out right for both of them.
Yeah, I remember that Steve Cannon, he has the Florida Boxing Hall of Fame, and he was one of the trainers of one of those fighters. And it was amazing. I know he'll never forget that day, because he said, man, Joe didn't settle for no, we got to do the fight. And Joe said, no way in the world. These guys are not fighting on my watch without the proper padding. But anyway, that's one of the crazy things that happen in boxing. But there's so many things, Richard, but it has been so many great moments, me watching you referee some of the greatest fights here in Vegas. And you referee close to 200 World Championship fights during your career. And, you know, you've been refereeing. You started refereeing what year, Richard?
61.
Yeah, 61. Wow, 61. Was I born yet? Yeah, I was born. 61 when I won the national championships against a guy named Georgie Foster beat me in the pros, but there was a guy named in Chicago. There was a fighter that beat Emmanuel Stewart, Oscar German, beat Emmanuel Stewart. And then one day I was with Emmanuel Stewart. He said, Joe, are you that little skinny Puerto Rican who came up to me, who beat Oscar German? He said, yeah. And he said, he's the guy that beat me to get to the Nationals. He said, I didn't get to the Nationals, I would have fought you, but he ended up beating me. So I beat Oscar German for that. I was only 17 years old back in 61, when you mentioned the year 61. Yeah, that was a great experience for me.
Great time for amateur boxing.
Yeah, it was. Back in the golden era was in the year when you were refereeing Hearns, Leonard, Hearns, Hagler, Chavez, and so many of the great ones in the golden era. Roberto Duran. Yeah, that was a great one.
There was some great fighters. You know.
Yeah, Roberto Duran was one of the great fighters that I refereed. And that was when he fought Iran Barkley for the middleweight championship.
Oh, yes, great fight.
Yeah, it was my 27th world title fight, I remember, in Atlantic City. And I ended up beating, Roberto Duran ended up beating Barkley. You know, for the middleweight championship. I mean, they thought that Roberto Duran was already at the age that he could compete at that level. But he got to put Iran Barkley down the 11th round. ended up winning a split decision. And that was one of the greatest fights I've ever seen
Right.
Roberto, because he was he's known to be probably the greatest lightweight champion in the history of boxing.
Correct.
But to come work his way up, not only welterweight, super welterweight, but middleweight champion,
Middleweight.
you know, I mean, that's a lot.
Yeah.
And beating a guy like Iran Barkley, who had just finished knocking out Tommy Hearns, you know.
Yeah.
So that says a lot about Roberto Duran. He was a pleasure.
He
and
was a
honor
great
working with
fighter.
him.
Great fighter.
Great fighter, yeah. And Tracy, tell me a little bit more about your background in boxing. You got to tell me, because not only are you a mother, you're a coach. You have a wonderful husband. I understand he's also involved with boxing. Can you tell me a little bit more about yourself? How did you get started in it?
So I was into fitness. I was going to a gym and I was working out, lifting weights, and they opened a boxing gym inside of the gym, which attracted my kids to it. We started training. They started training. They fell in love with it, and they started training to start fighting. That's when we started becoming involved as coaches, and it just grew from there. Everybody just grew onto us. The kids would just attach themselves, and we decided to have our own team, and now we have our team, and you know, it's a beautiful journey just all the way around, because again, we have Mr. Steele right next to us, showing us the ropes, teaching us. We're learning, we're growing because of him, and having him as a mentor is like the biggest part, because
it's a blessing. It's a blessing.
his knowledge is
You don't find people like Richard Steele every day.
Yeah,
around
no,
there.
you don't.
There aren't too many people around there like
you
Richard
don't.
Steele.
So we're blessed.
Yeah, you are.
My husband Percy, he's the main coach, and he's been training for probably about, I don't know, 12, 13 years.
Did he ever fight himself?
He fought as a kid in the amateurs, but
okay.
nothing serious.
Did you ever compete?
I did not. I just trained.
Just trained.
I wanted to fight. Our goal as a family was to have my husband, myself, and our 2 kids on one card, amateur card, you know? And that was about to happen not too long ago, right before the pandemic. But then, you know, we have too many kids. I'd rather spend my time with these kids getting them ready. It's not about me anymore. I'm never going to be a world champ.
But you guys could have made it, the Guinness Book of Record.
Right?
By you know, the husband, the mother, the son, they don't fighting
And
on the
it
same
still
card.
could be done. It's just that I want to spend my time getting our kids ready.
Yeah, but that's something you can do, because it'll be something at least to go down in the Guinness Book of Record as, you know, the mother, the father, the son, all fighting on the same card.
Right.
You know,
and
how Richard still be the referee.
Yeah.
I don't know about
Bring it back
all
in the
that.
ring as a third man. Yeah, no. Yeah, but it's a pleasure. I love working with these kids and seeing how much they grow out of boxing. Boxing really does teach these kids a lot about themselves, life, and just how to overcome struggles.
And her and her husband are good coaches.
Yeah.
Good coaches. You know, the USA Boxing, they take the test every year. They pass the test, and they work out in the gym with the fighters.
Right. Well, you know, the boxing. What I like about boxing is it teaches the kids a lot of, you know, discipline, the self-esteem, the confidence level. All that goes up, you know, in the sport of boxing. Because sometimes you get these kids that are being bullied in school, boys and girls,
Yes.
you know. So it's good to get involved so they can make you feel like, wait a minute, they're going to stop bullying me. That stops after a while. Once you get yourself in the gym, working out, and you start, the parents say, oh my God, my son or my daughter, they turn out to be so different now. Now they're more confident in themselves and the way they carry themselves. And now before they were so shy, they were afraid.
Right.
That doesn't happen
That's
anymore.
the best part of it.
That's the best part. That's the most rewarding part of being involved with boxing, because you know, the self-esteem, it means a lot.
It takes kids a long ways.
Yeah, it does. That's the best school, one of the best schools. I mean, being involved in any sport is good, but when you get into, when you're one-on-one, you're by yourself in a ring.
Can't depend on anybody else. You don't have a team; it's you.
You have a team, but they
but they're not in the ring with you.
But they're not in the ring. You're by yourself.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so important.
Right.
I said I love about boxing, because it makes you feel like I was being bullied when I was a young kid myself, and I was 16 years old. I won my first Golden Glove championship, you know, in Madison Square Garden. So that was a lot of fun, along with my brother Mike, and then we ended up winning the championships several times. I ended up winning like 6 Golden Glove championships throughout my career in boxing, and it was a lot of fun. And it brought my self-esteem and my confidence level up again. And it helped me, develop me to be the person that I am today. Yeah. Because, you know, that boxing gets you to that level. Mm-hmm. You get to meet people. You get able to talk with people out there and just talk about life in general. And you just have a normal conversation with people you never thought you'd be talking to. I've talked like you, like Richard. Richard's been with individuals from very famous individuals. You went to Africa to meet Mandela.
Yes.
I mean, who can say that? He one-on-one. Mandela's a fan of Richard Steele. How about that, okay? Not many people can say that about Richard Steele. Not only was I a fan, but Mandela loved Richard Steele. And they spent some time together, you know, with his beautiful wife, Gladys. You know, so it's so important to do positive things in life, especially in boxing, because we get to meet good people out there. When we go to the fight, when we referee these big fights, you got all celebrities come up, hey, Richard, hey, Joe, you know, you look at these guys calling you by your name. Yeah. Come here, now, I want you to meet my friend. You know, you get all these big celebrities, they look up to us, and then it's an honor, you know, to be. And that's what boxing has helped us to develop who we are today.
Right. Correct.
And we paid our dues, you know, we work hard to get to the level where Richard Steele and myself both inducted into the International Hall of Fame here in Nevada, up in Kansas City, New York, and so was Mills Lane was the other one. Everybody said Richard Steele, Mills Lane, Joe Cortez. We only got 3 guys inducted into the International Hall of Fame, but we were all the 3 most spoke about referees in Nevada. We gave it all we had because we loved it. We care about the fighters. We watch out for the safety of the fighters. And now what we're doing now is helping in the community to get these kids on the right track, making sure, you know, that they get to be where they should be going. A lot of kids today, they're with gangs and drugs and a lot of bad things that they're doing, like a lot of shootings in Chicago, New York. Here in Las Vegas, we're not too much of that. And I'll tell you, we have to try to keep it that way because boxing is a program where you take these kids and they know that when you talk to them, Richard, or when I talk to them, or when you talk to them, Tracy, they listen because they know we're there to help them. We're not there to hurt them. We're there to get them on the right track and make them. And sometimes you don't become a champion in the ring, but what? You become a champion in life.
That's
right. And that's what's important. And that's what we try to do. You know, Richard, that's why I was so happy to have you on the show today.
Well, I'm very pleased of being here with you, Joe, because you are outstanding gentleman, referee, father, and everything else. You know, so it's good being with you.
It's always an honor, you know, being with a person like Richard Steele. I mean, because we're brothers from another mother, you know.
That's right.
You know?
It's my pop from another mother.
But no. And I'm glad that again. Let's go over the dates again for your boxing event.
So for the pro show is going to be May 5th, and that's going to be at the Sahara Event Center. And then we have our Juneteenth event, which is on June 19th, and that'll be at the Richard Steele Foundation. Okay. But more than anything, we want you guys to come out and support our pro show. Stephen Reed Productions is the one that's promoting most of it, and we just want you guys to come out and watch some really good fights. Lester Martinez is going to put on a show.
And that's May 5th.
Yes, May 5th, at the Sahara Event Center.
Yeah, May 5th, okay. Well, you know, that's so important that you guys are doing this, still involved with the community, giving back to the community, and making these fighters' dreams come true. Because not every day you get an individual like Richard Steele or Tracy to come around and put programs like this to get these kids back on track and making sure that they become champions. Maybe not in life, not in the ring, but in life, you become a champion.
Right.
And that's what we strive for, to make sure that these fighters get the good guidance and the good listening to Richard Steele's experience, knowledge, and wisdom. And Tracy, with your background, we're very proud of what you're doing. You have your 2 sons in boxing and your husband, you know, doing his part. I mean, I'd like to see you guys get back in that ring and break the Guinness Book of Record. You know, husband, mother.
We're gonna make it happen.
You see that? We're gonna make it happen. Now we're gonna make it happen. You see, it happened here on the Joe Cortez show.
Right.
We kind of convinced her. Now we're gonna make it happen.
We appreciate you having us on here.
Yeah, it's an honor
to get the word out, and I hope to see the place packed on the 5th and the 18th.
The 5th, again, that's at the
That's the Sahara Event Center on Sahara and Maryland Parkway. Yep.
Sahara and Maryland Parkway, May 5th. Okay, and your other show?
So that one is for Juneteenth, and it'll be June 19th at the Richard Steele Foundation.
Yes. Richard Steele.
We'll put out more flyers and more advertising as the days go by.
Good. Yeah, we'll talk about it here on the show.
Okay.
Maybe get you on one more time before that event comes about.
Thank you.
Sounds good.
Well, fans out there, we're so happy and honored to have Richard Steele and Tracy with us here at the Joe Cortez Show to get you guys on track of what we're trying to do here in the community. There's not a better place to go to than the Richard Steele Boxing Club here in Las Vegas. See you guys next week. Take care.